John the Morgal here, checking in for I Told You So. Right. So last night I had mentioned that Russell Brand, sort of out of the blue, came out with a denial of some up and coming allegations that he knew were going to be hurled against him or whatever. I guess because the Times just released this super long article involving allegations of, the R word and Russell Brand. So just wanted to talk about this a little bit, and I'll definitely be reading from the article with the allegations. But before we get into just reading it, my sort of initial take on it first, but hope y'all are doing well. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear. And once I know that we're rolling, then I'll continue with it, but hope y'all are doing well. My initial take on this thing is, well, first of all, we know for sure that Russell Brand, he himself admits to doing some pretty wild things over the course of the early 2000s, early 2010s. He was a self-described sex addict.
Hello.
Hey, I'm on a live stream. Can you go over there? Can you go outside?
Okay.
Right. So let me just deal with this. Looks like we are coming through on the audio, right? If y'all can hear me, let me get a thumbs up in the chat if you don't mind. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem like I can hear myself. But anyway, I'm sure we're fine. Please do throw a thumbs up if you can hear me. I would appreciate it. And my initial take, good deal. Thank you, Tom's Dayful. So my initial thing on this is, I don't think anybody's going to deny that Russell Brand was a sex addict. I mean, even he says that he was, and he apparently did some things that he was ashamed of and admitted to as much, in his books and things like that. I also believe that Russell Brand has gone through some changes relatively recently in terms of, I know before he was like a fairly staunch atheist, and then at some point that, I'm not sure you would describe him as a devout theist by any means, but I think that he has had some sort of a migration away from the whole atheistic thing, right? And so the person that Russell Brand is today isn't necessarily the same person that Russell Brand was like 20 years ago, right? And so the initial allegations are things that happened in the early 2000s, like I think it was around 2006, and we will get into all the details. One of the girls was as young as either 16 or 17, okay? Now, these are just allegations, and it is kind of there is some bizarre stuff about it. But I will mention that over in the UK, the legal age of consent is different than it is here. I think it's 16. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the legal age of consent in the UK is 16. And so for a guy that's 31 at the time, that is pretty damn young. But at the same time, technically, legally, she's considered consenting if these allegations actually happened. I think it is interesting that Russell Brand has been hitting a lot of the high notes in terms of things that the mainstream would probably classify as like conspiracy theories, right? So Russell Brand does touch on some of the things that definitely make the powers which ought not be uncomfortable. And the way this is all coming out, It isn't entirely off the table that something like this is a coordinated and unfounded attack. It's possible it's totally unfounded. It's also possible that he's a total maniac and a monster, and nobody ever really picked up on it yet. Or it could be something in between. But based on the limited information I have at the time, and I haven't even read through the full article, so we're going to go through that together and see where it takes us. But based on what I've heard so far, there's some fishy things about it. So, like, one of the complainants basically alleges that he forced himself in her mouth. Okay. Now, first of all, any guy that's going to force himself on a woman in any way, that's a piece of shit right there, and they deserve the worst that the law can throw at them. Honestly, there's no place for that ever. At the same time, I think it's kind of strange because she claims that the only way she could get him off of her was by like punching him in the gut. But I'm here to tell you there would be one far more obvious way for her to get him off of her, which would be to simply, bite off his junk, right? As sick as that is to say. But in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, but really, I don't think there's really much a thing as mouth rope, right? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. She just happened to be down there. Well, no. So like they were apparently dating. Maybe I should read. Let's get some context. I was just sort of giving you what I've gleaned so far, but I definitely, I want y'all to make your own minds up, and I'm going to be learning a lot of this information with you. But what it seems to me is like my spidey senses are definitely up because I've sort of been suspecting Russell Brand as a potential crypto flat earther, for one thing, for a while now. But of course, people that are successful in the mainstream and even successful in the online sort of alternative spheres, they don't want to publicly come out as a flat earther because it might ruin their career. At the same time, allegations like this certainly ruin your career worse than anything like flat earth ever could. Because let's say hypothetically, even if there's nothing to any of these claims, right? Even if it's all fabricated, that don't fucking matter, man. Like, his reputation is ruined. And it's kind of strange that go to the police after
who's filing charges on him?
This famous, nobody's filed charges as far as I know, but this famous super rich guy that you're dating ropes you in the mouth and you don't tell anyone, like you don't press charges. I mean, really, you would think that, you would think that most people would see that as an instant position to litigate, right? Or at least to settle out of court for monetary compensation. So there's, it's fishy. Well, again, she's a minor, and I agree that 16 is definitely young, especially for a 31-year-old, but like 16 is young for a 21-year-old even, or even a 20-year-old, but because that's a child in my opinion. But according to the UK law, the age of consent is 16. So at the time, girl was technically legal.
You want to know something else about UK law?
There's four complainants, and this article is going to go over, I think, all four of them. So we're definitely going to get into it. What were you saying? What about it?
You know what else is disgusting about that UK law is they don't get clipped when baby boys are born over there. They don't get clipped.
What are you talking about? Circumcised?
Yeah, they don't believe in circumcision over
I
there.
think that's up to the parents, isn't it?
No, they don't. They have a hood. They don't have.
That is such a weird thing.
No, it's disgusting because it is just the whole scenario of him forcing him forcing himself on her. The whole scenario is just disgusting.
Right, but okay, so this
And
is.
you can just give diseases to everybody over there.
So Mina, my wife, is sitting over here. You can't see her. You want to sit over here so they can see you? Just sit over here so they can see you. Okay, she doesn't want y'all to see her, but so I'm asking you as a woman, if a guy, and there's certain words you can't say on YouTube, but if a guy was going to rope you and he
I
roped
don't
you,
even know what that means.
rape you.
Oh, okay.
God, certain words you can't say on YouTube.
Okay.
If he was to rope you in the mouth, wouldn't you just bite and be done with it? Like,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm asking, like, seriously, if you were for real getting roped, wouldn't you just be like, I know I would. I mean, I'm a dude,
I'd
right?
also be,
So it's a little different.
on the old potato basket too. You know what I mean?
So would you wait 20 years and come out? And I know, like, so circumstances, whatever, but
Well, that has to do with love. She probably had a crush. She probably was crushing on him. She's 16. And see, that's why they have statutory rapes in this country because,
it's a child.
yeah, parents need to pick. Well, you telling me over there that might be the age of consent? You tell me that the parents couldn't pick that up with the state? They could. They could have.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the legalities. It's definitely
But I
bizarre if
guarantee
it's
she
true.
wouldn't tell nobody. I guarantee it.
Well, one of the things that was
Except for
fishy.
Fred.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We're fixing to read the article.
Read it.
Well, hold on. Now I done lost my damn train of thought.
I mean, that's sad because her being put in a position like that, and see, some guys would have freaked out and hurt her, you know?
So what it seemed like to me is, but when she left him, she showed up back at his house. And this is after the whole rope thing. Later on, at another point, and she caught him in bed with another woman and left. So what it seems to me like could have happened, and I don't know who this woman is, and I don't know the full story yet. I don't even know if it's a real person or whatever, but it seems to me like a woman got scorned, and now there was an opportunity to come after him. I mean, again, for all I know, I don't know Russell Brand. For all I know, he was a monster. And honestly, he might have been a monster then, and he's
I did
a
gotta
monster.
say something.
What's
These
that?
women that are coming in and pressing charges on some of these guys, that time is 20 and 30 years have passed, even more time, and them being, I mean, run off on a rail, basically. These guys, I mean, I have to say, you had all that time to press charges, and now they want to make some money off of it or do whatever they want to do. I find it distasteful, because if it really hurt you that bad, you would have been pressing charges that week on that person.
Right, and would you have been going back to his house later on?
No, you wouldn't.
Nathan Oakley just commented.
Well,
What's up, Nathan? He said it sounds like a smear campaign to him. And it definitely sounds like it to me. I mean, I'm.
Well, in Europe, they call it fake feminism.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is I'm neither there nor whatever, because I'm not going to put myself in that position. I don't want myself in that position. But me, myself, as a woman, if somebody did something bad to me, I would be on the railroad right then, running them out on a rail, not waiting 30 years.
Right, but again, my only question to you is, wouldn't you have just bit off his man parts? I mean, really?
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
I would
So
try to do lots of things, but if you're in love with somebody and you're only 16, I mean, that's a shock in itself.
right.
You
I
don't
mean,
know really what to do.
if he let me put this out there too. If he really did do that to her, dude, like, this motherfucker deserves whatever's coming to him, honestly, if he did that. If this is bullshit and this woman is bearing false witness, then I pray that it comes out in the light. And really the messed up thing about these kind of allegations is, even if it's totally innocent, like if this was all consensual and he never forced himself on her, like, she very well could be making up bits and pieces of this. So if that's just made up, I pray that it comes out into the light, and
Well, putting something out there in a book for other people to read is one thing, but you can't wait 30 and 40 years to do certain things because that's why we have laws in this country, and that's why we have a constitution. There's been a lot of things getting bended, you know?
Right.
You just can't do that.
Well, so with the whole Danny Masterson thing that's going on right now, I know in the United States law, the way that they were able to get past the statute of limitations on Danny Masterson was if it was just one instance of these allegations on Danny Masterson, then it was out of statute of limitations. But because there was 3 that they charged him for at the same time, then that was the 3 strikes you're out rule automatically, which opened it up for a potential life sentence. And any charge in the United States that has the potentiality of a life sentence, automatically there is no statute of limitations on that.
It's hard to tell.
So wait, hold on.
Smear campaign.
It's hard to tell, but let me round out.
Is really laws.
Wait.
You know, him doing it. It's a bad situation.
Totally forgot what I was gonna say. So I don't know what the law is in the UK on that, but I mean, maybe that's an angle. And again, I don't want to seem like I'm saying that these women have an angle, but I'm just trying to keep an open mind because you know how the mob cancel culture is just rearing to go against somebody like Russell Brand, even with just allegations. So what I was saying was, even if dude is totally innocent and this stuff is blown out of proportion and the forcing stuff never happened, it doesn't matter because the accusation's already out there. And even right now already, Russell Brand's sort of public image is already tarnished. And, if he actually did what these women are accusing him of, he deserves every bit of what's coming to him and worse. But it just seems, at the surface, it seems fishy to me. So, all right, let's go. And I'm reading from the dailymail.co.uk. Russell Brand is accused of rape, sexual assault, and emotional abuse. Star attacked 4 women between 2006 and 2013, including roping one against a wall in his Los Angeles home, and one he attacked when she was a 16-year-old schoolgirl whom he called the child.
Oh, my Lord.
Okay. So Russell Brand has today been accused of rape, sexual assault, and emotional abuse by 4 women during the peak of his fame. The allegations are claimed to have taken place between 2006 and 2013, while Brand was a presenter for BBC Radio 2 and Channel 4 before then becoming a star in Hollywood to boot. Among the explosive claims reported by The Times include other claims that Brand was controlling, abusive, and predatory in behavior. Stopping to pause real quick on that. Controlling, that's an allegation that kind of might make him seem like a dick, but it's not a crime. Abusive certainly is a crime, and predatory certainly is a crime. So these are some stiff allegations already, but
yeah, they have
the way that the narrative is unfolding, and we'll see this here in a minute, there's just some fishy points about it. So let's continue. What did you say?
I said, plus it happened in this decade.
You need to sit over here closer because you're too far away. Well, so either shit or get off the pot, but you can't sit way over there and do what you're doing. You got to sit over here closer. It's fine. Either way, but not over there. Okay. So the bombshell allegations came after Russell Brand posted an astonishing video late last night, vehemently denying what he called very serious criminal allegations made against him. Sharing his 2-minute, 45-second monologue to his 11 million followers on formerly Twitter X and 6.5 million subscribers on YouTube, Brand lashed out at aggressive media claims as he insisted any relationships he had during his time of promiscuity were consensual. And that's really the main thing here, is whether it's consensual, right? And again, if this was America, dude would be like under the jail, because 16 is way illegal in every state, right? There's not a state in the union where he'd get away with that. Okay, but technically, if it's legal, then it's not a crime. As weird as that sounds, like how something can be a crime over here and not a crime over there, right? It is strange, isn't it? Because with natural law, there are no such borders to natural law, right? So like if you jump off a cliff, natural law dictates that you're always going to fall to the bottom of the crags or whatever, right? So that it's not like you're going to go to some other state and cease to die when you jump off a cliff, because you're going to float upwards with the ether, right? So there is that. Natural law is what? Like, so what is the natural law with regards to this? I don't know. I think that's probably up for debate. One that I always heard, and it's kind of a sick joke, but as long as there's grass on the field, then it's fair play, right? So some people will argue that sort of thing. And on the other hand, if they're not old enough to vote, then I really don't see them being old enough to make that kind of decision. So I definitely think that 16 is a bit young, but at the same time, like if you go back to like biblical times, families would arrange marriages and basically sell off their daughters when they were even as young as 14, right? And I don't know. You can sort of argue the law either way. There is a rational part of me that sees even like in the Americas, the 18 years old as being kind of a weird situation that causes problems. Because, let's face it, there aren't many youngins these days who actually wait until they're 18 or married, or 18 and married, right, to have sexual intercourse. It just doesn't happen. And so what tends to happen is people end up having premarital sex while they're very young, and girls get deflowered by idiot kids who don't really give a shit about the woman, and sometimes get her pregnant and then leave her. And so now you've basically introduced a child into this world with a youngin who perhaps in a different world could have been married to a guy who was 20, right? I'm not like advocating for that sort of thing, but really, what are the odds that you're going to find a 20-year-old woman who has never had sex? It's pretty rare. Like, honestly, it's pretty rare. Even it's been that way for a long time. It's not like a new phenomenon. By the time a woman's 18 or 19 or 20, she's usually had at least several different sexual partners. And by that point, it's not like they're high school sweethearts, right? So I don't know, man. Can go either way. Let's continue reading with this. So in the report by the Times, one woman alleges Brand, oh wait, I already read that part. The second woman alleges that Brand assaulted her when he was 31 and she was 16 and still at school. It is claimed the actor referred to her as the child during an emotionally abusive and controlling relationship that lasted about 3 months. A third woman alleged the comedian sexually assaulted her while she worked with him in Los Angeles, and that he threatened her with legal action if she told anyone. Legal action? So wait a minute. So how does that work? I'm going to rope you and then I'm going to sue you? I don't know. And I do know how, abusers and monsters can be. Like, I know that, there is part of me that's reserving this possibility that dude's an absolute monster, but I don't know, man. Like, it is all rather convenient that all this stuff is coming out at once. See, this isn't like the instance of Danny Masterson where like you've got history where Danny Masterson paid like $500,000 or whatever to one of his victims as a sort of out of court settlement, right?
So another thing too is who testified against Masterson. It could have been, it sounds to me when somebody drugs somebody at a party 30 years ago, I mean, he had to be a kid. He's a kid now. He's young.
That's a whole nother thing. We can talk about that on another time.
It seems to me like he's taking the full route. Usually there's 2 or 3 guys on that kind of stuff when they use those drugs.
Well, there was another woman who, and we're off on a tangent now, another woman who wasn't like roped by Masterson allegedly. She just went to an after party at his house or whatever, and basically Masterson's then wife sort of flipped out and threw everybody out. But
yeah, somebody had to tell the girl that she was drugged by him.
Yeah, there was other allegations. Anyway, so forget about him for now. So let's go. Okay. Let's continue on with this.
So that's
criminal allegation made against him. So sharing his 2-minute 45-second monologue to his 11 million followers and 6.5 million subscribers on YouTube. So I'm reading the same thing again. All right, hold on. Lasted about 3 months, right? Okay, so a third woman alleged the comedian sexually assaulted her while she worked with him in LA and that he threatened her with legal action if she told anyone. I'd really love to hear the story on that. I guess we will get to it. And of course, my computer's just acting all kinds of stupid. Like what the crap? Like everything's wanting to like all of a sudden crash out on my computer. So that's just terrific. Here, let me open up my task manager and see what we can do here. Sorry, you guys, I'm having technical difficulties here. Let's see if we can check in on the chat a bit here. So Scott Machinik says, I'm sorry, but 16 is not a big deal. It's not classy, but come on, age gaps like that have kept the human race going for the entirety of our history. So 16 and 31, no, it's not a big age gap, but I'm sorry, 16's a child, right? So like maybe if dude's 18 and 16 or 19 and 16, that might not seem like a big deal, but even in my opinion, you know, technically, at least here in the United States, that's a pedophile, right? So I mean, the law is different over there, and you know, if it's technically legal, then there isn't a crime. I mean, yeah, that's young in my opinion. I tend to disagree with you, but you know, at the same time, again, like what are the odds that a virgin man is going to meet a virgin woman when they're both in their 20s and then get married, right? It's probably like 1 in a million, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I do think that there are downstream long-term effects on our society at large by, you know, putting that sort of a cap on the age of consent. But, you know, again, I mentioned the whole thing with biblical times where it used to be, you know, people would sell their daughters when they were 14, but also it was typical for a rich man to have 5 wives and a dozen slave women and even concubines that he just kept around as side pieces. And also he would just eunuch any dude that worked for him to prevent dudes from, you know, getting on his game or whatever, right? So a lot has changed since then. But at the same time, I just wonder if we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. So like, for example, if a family wanted to marry off their daughter who's 16 or whatever to a dude that they arranged the marriage with as 20, and, you know, with assurances that she's a virgin with dowries involved, I mean, that almost seems more civilized to me than, you know, like even the whole Romeo and Juliet laws or whatever. And maybe I'm a weirdo. And again, I'm not advocating for pedo type stuff, but I'm just looking at this from sort of the long view. In my personal opinion, 16 is way too young, especially when you're 31. But again, if it was consensual and legal, I find it hard to believe that we'll just continue with the reading, but my computer's literally crashed. So let me start my task manager here again. We'll get some more. And I did see some comments come in. So let me see if I can go through some of the comments while we're waiting for my slow piece of crap computer. Christopher Wainwright says, truth community, and then to chop him down to discredit us all. Oh, yeah. So maybe the whole plan was for Russell to become a top man in the truth community and then to chop him down at the knees and discredit us all. Right. So if you look at his bookshelf, he has a book by Manly P. Hall, who is a famous Freemason. Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, I would be surprised to learn that Russell Brand was not connected to Freemasonry, just because I do know that MTV is basically synonymous with Freemasonry, right? So like the M in MTV literally esoterically stands for Masonic Television. The original headquarters for MTV was originally an old, like a transitioned Masonic lodge. So yeah, again, I would be rather surprised to find out that he was not. Yeah, for some reason, Firefox has 39 windows open using 2 gigs of RAM. So let me just end that task and we'll come back to the article here in just a second. But let's take a quick poll in the chat. So if you think that Russell Brand is a monster, based on what we've heard so far, and he might have done this stuff, put a 1. And if you think that he is innocent and this is all a big attack on him for nothing, put a 2. And if you think it might be something in between, like, you know, he did have relationships with this 16-year-old, but it wasn't like she's saying. So maybe there's a combination of the 2. What do y'all think? 1, 2, or 3? 1, he's a monster. 2, he's an angel. And 3, something in between. What do y'all think? As I reboot my my Firefox applications, because I am curious to hear what y'all think.
I think he got invincible. He feels like he was invincible. Now he's been taken down a peg. And that's what they're doing. They're letting these guys do this shit. And
well, in either way, no matter what happens, now he's always going to be tarnished as a suspected chomo. And from what I gather, there were rumors running for a long time when he was working for the BBC, you know, before he ever got involved with MTV UK or whatever, that he was womanizing, controlling, and really, he doesn't even really.
He went crazy with a gun.
What are you talking about?
That girl, that singer, what's her name?
I don't know.
He was with that singer. Fireworks. She sings that song Fireworks.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really, I have no idea.
Ask them out there what her name is.
Katy Perry, they're saying.
Perry,
thank you. Yeah.
Anyway, she left him and he just lost his damn mind. He had a gun and he was running through town. He was out in the road.
Russell Brand was?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he really lost his mind, man.
So one thing that I already sort of believe, and really it's kind of not even a question for me, that in order to get to a certain level in either Hollywood or the music industry, like the celebrity culture, you have to basically sell your soul, right? As Katy Perry sort of indicated in many interviews. And so for Russell Brand to not be at least somewhat, you know, fucked in the head or, you know, of a sort of a satanic or eyes wide shut mindset, you know, I think clearly the evidence would suggest that he's been into stuff like that, and he doesn't really even deny it. But I also think that there's a good potentiality that he has changed quite a bit since the early 2000s. Someone that goes from an atheist to understanding that there's a creator and
He
even
says-
potentially stumbling onto flat earth, that can definitely change a person, I think.
He said something one time. He made a comment that he was on so much drugs back then that he didn't really know what he was doing.
Yeah. Okay, so I got my browser back up and we're going to continue on with the article. No One's Flower, what's up, No One's Flower? Wasn't he also dating a Rothschild? Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know too much about Russell Brand, but if No One's Flower mentions that, it's definitely worth looking up because, I mean, No One's Flower has never been known to be wrong before. So let's see. Russell Brand dated a Rothschild. Russell Brand and Laura Gallagher got married in 2017 and are expecting their third child. Here's everything to know about Russell Brand. And yeah, my computer is really a piece of crap, so it's still kind of loading this web search result.
I mean, he was with Sadie Frost. What is that? Kate Moss chick. Kate Moss gets with anybody that's on drugs. Let me tell you, she really does. She's so beautiful to kind of throw herself away like that sometimes.
So yeah, so she's not a Rothschild. Maureen Walsh says he's had tons of girlfriend. Okay, No One's Flower says often she's wrong. So yeah, no, I was being facetious. So it turns out, well, even if you were never wrong before, No One's Flower, you're damn sure wrong about this. And so yeah, no, you're good. Fritz Doister says, if it were your daughter, would you talk differently? I don't have any kids, but yeah, if this was somebody that I knew, and they were making allegations and it was someone that I trusted, I would instantly think he's an absolute piece of crap. But the thing is we don't know who this accuser is. We don't even know if it's a real person at this point. It could just be a ChatGPT story for all I know. Now, I don't think that's what it is, but I do think that it's rather convenient that all this stuff's coming out at once, 20 years after the fact or whatever. But yeah, definitely I would talk differently if I knew this person or if it was my daughter. But at the same time, I just find, let's get into the allegations. We haven't even got there yet. But yeah, my computer is just acting a damn fool. So just bear with me, you guys. And I know this thing makes noise if I slide it, so I don't want to get your eardrums off. We'll get there. Where I've got the freaking article right here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. So back to the Daily Mail article, and I'll just have to scroll down to where I was at before. Okay.
Because
So physically and emotionally abusive towards her.
in 2013, he dated this girl.
Nobody, I don't care. He's dated a lot of girls. It's not so.
Mina Khan.
Yeah.
Is that one of the girls that said something?
Okay. I don't know. We're about to find out. And I think they've changed the names and covered up the identities of the allegers as well. Okay. So Russell Brand took to his YouTube channel to absolutely deny ahead of time what he calls serious allegations ahead of a mystery Channel 4 dispatches investigation. And really, those shorts he's wearing in the picture here is a crime. Let me show you what I'm talking about here, guys, and then I promise I won't kill your eardrums. But come on, Russell, those shorts are a crime, right? Sorry. Yeah, okay. So Brand, pictured with a couple years ago with his wife, Laura, in Bath. said he had received two extremely disturbing letters from a mainstream media TV company and a newspaper. Okay. Anyway, one of his alleged victims was still attending school when she was sexually assaulted by Brand. Alice, not her real name, who was 16 at the time, was shopping outside Topshop on Oxford Street when Brand approached her and began rifling through her bag. He pulled out a dress and asked her if she would be wearing it on their date. Okay, so the only way that would fly is if the girl was starstruck, right? Because any normal person, if you're out shopping and some dude comes rifling through your bag, you're gonna like mace him and run away, right? But to go and date him after that, yeah, this is definitely a child, 16 years old. I agree they should probably change the laws, but legally, if it's fair game, can you really blame a sex addict, right? Just saying. And I'm not condoning anything here, but why would anybody date somebody after that introduction? I mean, you only get one chance to make a first impression. Like, how did that fly? Really? Wow. So it says their relationship lasted 3 months, and Alice, as well as her mother, both described Brand's behavior as grooming. So wait a minute, her mom knew about this too? So, honestly, if her mom knew the guy was grooming her and she was 16, I guess mom can't necessarily say, hey, don't go out with this guy, but she kind of can't she? That is her child. Wow. So her mom appears to even have known about this. Wow, that's kind of weird to me. Okay, back to the quote. Towards the end of the relationship, the woman, now 31, said the comedian sexually assaulted her. She told the paper, I was sat up in the bed against the headboard and he forced his pee down my throat and I couldn't breathe. It was just choking me and I couldn't breathe and I was pushing him away and he wasn't backing off at all. I've already said what I got to say about that, right? Honestly, and again, I'm not a woman, so I don't know, but that sounds like some straight bullshit to me, for real. Sounds like some bullshit for one logical reason. If she really wanted him off of her, all she had to do was just barely even bite down, right? And again, I know this is graphic, probably not conversation for the kids, but Mina, as a woman, again, would you let that happen?
Sooner or later, she's going to start freaking out.
I'm asking you, what would you do in that situation as a woman?
Anything I could.
Anything you could. So that doesn't. So what would you do though?
Really, I don't know, but a lot of times women are scared to injure the person that they're with because they're scared he's going to retaliate.
Yeah.
And you're in a very
okay.
place you're in is not good.
So fine. Okay. So no answer. But then after that, would you continue to date that person?
No.
Fuck no, right? I'm sorry, y'all. That's kind of weird. And again, so there is something to be said about a kid who's starstruck, I guess. But it doesn't seem to add up to me just based on this. Because it would be, in my opinion, very easy to get a dude off you that's in that position. Super easy. You could actually maim dude for life and potentially kill him due to blood loss so fast. You could definitely do that. But then on top of that, to go back later on, let's continue reading it. So she says he wasn't backing off at all. Alice said that Brand manipulated women for sex by joking about his sex addiction and countless relationships. So, that sounds believable. So they're definitely spinning a narrative that he's cocky and he was a sex addict and he was glib, and that definitely doesn't make him out to be a nice person if you believe it. But it's not a crime. It's definitely creepy. You know, if what she's saying is true, that's creepy for sure. She added, I think he was very skillful in the start of making his identity be, I'm the womanizer. I'm a sex addict. I'm inappropriate, but it's all just a joke. It's funny, Alice claims. It's a smokescreen for a lot more of his dark behavior. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
What's the other people out there saying, John?
A second woman who is named Nadia, in quotes, so not her real name either, claimed to have had consensual sex with Brand in June of 2012 in his LA home. Brand, so I'm not going to read these picture captions. Nadia, who is a businesswoman, claimed that she visited the actor at his home again on the morning of July 1st, where she claimed a naked Brand came bounding out of his bedroom before then assaulting her against a wall.
Yeah, but these girls sound like they're prostitutes.
So let me correct something here. So a minute ago, I think I made allusion to the concept of the first one, Alice, coming back after the alleged mouth incident. Maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe she left and never came back after that, because then it would go straight to Nadia. And I think I was confusing part of Nadia's story with Alice's story. So Nadia says that he visited the actor at his home again. So like, wait a minute. So it's not, so Nadia's the one. So she had consensual sex with him in June of 2012. But then she came back again on the morning of July 1st, where she claimed that a naked Brand came bounding out of his bedroom before then assaulting her against a wall. Recounting the alleged incident to the Times, she said she tried to get away and slipped before getting stuck on a painting. Yeah, I'm trying to picture that in my mind. So you slipped and got stuck on a painting. I mean, okay, stranger things have happened, but that's odd. At this point, he's grabbing at my underwear, pulling it to the side, the woman told the paper. As she's slipped and got stuck on the painting, he starts grabbing at her underwear. Nadia alleges Brand then grabbed her and pushed up against her after she told him she wanted to leave. He's a lot taller than me, quote, and he has that glazed look in his eye again. And I can't move. And I told him, get off, Nadia claims. Brand pushed her up against the wall and roped her without a condom on. So this would be after they had consensual sex one time months earlier. She shows up at his house, he's naked, and he ropes her, is the allegation here. After this alleged attack, Nadia said she ran out and jumped into her car. She claimed Brand later sent her a text saying, I'm sorry, that was crazy and selfish. I hope you can forgive me. And I'm just wondering if this businesswoman told any of the authorities at that time, right? Because this was 2012, I think it said. That's a long time ago, man. I mean, and I'm not trying to profess that that necessarily means anything, but it is odd. Like, a lot of these things are odd, stacked on top of each other. It's very odd, but okay. Nadia later replied, telling Brand he had scared the shit out of her before claiming the actor apologized and claimed she asked him if she needed to be tested for a sexually transmitted disease, which he said she did not. The Times claimed Nadia decided against pressing criminal charges against Brand, but that the Los Angeles Police Department had been alerted to her alleged assault after she reportedly attended a rape treatment center in Santa Monica. So she went to the rape treatment center, but she did not go to the police and press charges against multi-millionaire Russell Brand. Okay, all right. The following year, Brand allegedly sexually assaulted another woman in her 20s called Phoebe. Now, Phoebe is not in quotes, so maybe this is her real name. I don't know. Woman in her 20s called Phoebe after reportedly meeting her at an AA, or Alcoholics Anonymous, meeting. Phoebe said the pair started working together before having a brief sexual relationship, which ended by the time of the alleged attack in early 2013. She told the Times how Brand allegedly trapped her in a bedroom after realizing he wanted to have sex with her. Phoebe told the paper he grabbed her and put her on the bed before describing how his eyes were black, like the devil. She claimed Brand then put his hands down my trousers as she was screaming and fighting for him to get off of her. I was screaming and I was like, "What are you doing? Stop, please, you're my friend. I love you. Please don't do this. I don't want to do this," she tells the Times. Phoebe told the paper Brand eventually got off her before he flipped and became super angry, shouting, "Fuck you," he fired. "Fuck you, you're fired." A short time later, Brand left the US and moved back to Britain. It was then that serious allegations about his conduct came to light. In 2014, Brand's ex-girlfriend, Jordan Martin, wrote about their relationship in her self-published book, K-Naught, Entanglement with a Celebrity, in which she renames Brand Randall Grand and herself Dinah. Okay. The Times said she declined to be interviewed about the incident, but reported that she stood by her account, which detailed their 6-month love affair. In the book, Martin alleged that Brand assaulted her while at Manchester's Lowry Hotel following an argument about her ex-boyfriend. Writing about the alleged experience, Martin accused Brand of coming up behind her after the incident and sexually assaulting her, and alleged that he slides his hand down the front of her low-hanging jeans into her underwear and forces a finger inside of her. Other allegations reported by the paper claimed that Brand's alleged attitude towards women became an open secret in radio and TV production, according to sources. While hosting his BBC radio show on Six Music, The Times claimed it was told that Brand and his co-host, Matt Morgan, would sometimes undress in the studio and encourage guests to do likewise. Morgan, who no longer works with Brand, told the paper that during his time with the Hollywood star, he was never aware of any allegations of serious sexual misconduct against the comedian, before insisting he absolutely condemns all form of mistreatment of women. Right?
It hasn't said anything about that Jamina Khan.
Well, we're not done with the article, but
She looks to be about 13 or 14, and it was even said that she looks like a very young girl.
I don't know. He added he was regretful to learn that a show that he was part of made colleagues uncomfortable at times. So like with some of these things, like mentioning that they would sometimes undress in the studio and encourage guests to do likewise. I mean, okay, that's weird. Yeah, but it just seems like they are coordinatedly trying to character assassinate him. And again, I'm not one to stick up for pedos, but or sexual predators at all. But there is a chance that a lot of this stuff is just made up, right? Especially when the victims coming forth are remaining anonymous, right? One thing, let me just put it this way, one thing that I would be worried about if I was a high profile celebrity that was also a sex addict, you really got to watch out for the transpocalypse, man. I'm just saying. Because, well, you just chew on that. Y'all know what I mean, I think. I mean, look at the video I did recently, Transpocalypse 2023. If you haven't seen that, definitely check that out. Okay. A runner who worked with Brand when he when he presented Big Brother's Big Mouth, alleged the star flashed her and made inappropriate advances at her. So I guess a runner is a co-worker on a set or whatever. I don't know too much about the movie production industry or show production industry, but what, a runner, isn't that like a like an assistant or something, like, or like a stagehand or something?
They run different stuff, different things.
Okay, so he pulled a Louis C.K. on her, huh? Is that what basically she's saying?
Something like that, I guess.
Okay. Rachel, not her real name, told The Times in a report published today that when she was 24, Brand flashed his pee-pee at her as she walked into his dressing room. Okay, that's weird. But in his defense, really the only place where you would sort of expect a celebrity's pee-pee to be hanging out would be in their dressing room, right? So it is kind of the most appropriate place for that sort of thing, but really, what was the interaction? Did he like do it pervertedly, like intentionally, or did she like walk in when he was changing and is trumping up allegations for convenience sake? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to go either way with it. I'm just trying to give you guys what I'm thinking as I think it. No filter. She claims the comedian and actor insinuated that she could perform oral sex on him. Rachel said she was shocked by the comment and refused. The alleged victim said she felt unable to report what had happened and feared that she would lose her job if she complained. Brand, who has denied all these allegations of impropriety made against him, is alleged to have continued to pursue Rachel despite her rejection. Okay, so, but according to her, he's not like a serial mouth roper. Because I'll tell you what, one thing's for damn sure, and I can promise you this: if there was such a thing as a serial mouth roper, right? They wouldn't be a serial mouth roper for long. You know what I mean? Because you need all your parts on in order to do that. And it would be super easy for anybody to end a sexual assault of that nature very quickly. But she's not even claiming he did any of that. He just offered while she was in his dressing room. Honestly, I mean, I think that's kind of weird that she's saying he busted out on her, but to suggest a woman have oral sex is not a crime. You know what I mean? It definitely makes him kind of an asshole and a weirdo, but being an asshole and a weirdo isn't a crime. And, you know, again, he has been pretty open and transparent about being a sex addict during these very times. So, I mean, it's definitely in character for him, that part. Rachel told The Times after the incident, he invited her to his flat where they kissed and had sex. Wait, what? They later began a relationship and kept a complete secret. Wow. So after, so she goes 1 minute from claiming that she turned him down for oral sex because he was basically an asshole and a creep, and then she started coming over and having sex with him. Okay. I mean, you know, the effect that fame and money have on people is rather phenomenal, and it is illogical, right? Because
What's the money?
yeah, it's the money and the fame. Any normal person off the street that would try that kind of shit is gonna get their ass handed to them, and they're gonna get Lorena Bobbitt, right? Or John
Right.
Bobbitt. You know what I mean?
What gets me is what people think they totally lose like all the sense in their head or something. We know that people don't like to be treated like they treat people. And we know that later on they're gonna get their shit handed to them. It's just a matter of time.
Right, but this just, I mean, all of these, and I'm sorry, I hate to seem like I am like pro sexual assaulter or something. I'm really not. But every one of these stories is kind of fishy to me. Like, this is striking me as very strange. Like,
Well,
it
if
really
anybody
is.
ever gets rich, just remember what it'll come back to you if you do something.
I'm just wondering, are there any criminal allegations or indictments against him ever? Because rumors and someone being kind of an asshole and a sex addict, again, none of that's a crime. But I don't know. It just all seems very convenient. Let's continue on with it. The revelations came ahead of a much anticipated Channel 4 dispatches investigation. Russell Brand in plain sight, set to air at 9 p.m. tonight. Right. So that was the name of the thing. Last night, Brand addressed his fans, telling him he had received 2 extremely disturbing letters from a mainstream media TV company and a newspaper. Addressing his fans, the comedian said he had been accused of a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, which are untrue. And let's just keep in mind, he very well could be totally innocent of all this. I mean, maybe there's grains of truth to some of it. Maybe some of it's made up. Maybe a good portion of it's made up. But our culture is so quick to jump to conclusions and judge, especially when sexual assault is, alleged. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we got to be real careful not to just go believing everything we hear, especially when it's coming from anonymous witnesses 20 years after the fact. But at the same time, we can't just discredit these women's allegations, although it would be nice to know who we're dealing with, because wouldn't it be funny if, like, hypothetically, and I don't know who any of these women are, but wouldn't it be funny if all 4 of them were trannies, like born with PPs and walking around with, double Ds, you know what I mean? He, she's, as we call them. Them, they, theirs, those.
Yeah.
His video drew backing for tech billionaire Elon Musk, who owns X, formerly known as Twitter, self-professed misogynist social media star Andrew Tate, and Brand's sister-in-law, Christy Gallagher. Put this out for me, please, would you? Amidst his denial of the allegations, the 48-year-old actor said, "We have seen coordinated media attacks before," referring to Joe Rogan announcing he had taken anti-parasite drug ivermectin to treat his COVID-19 infection during the pandemic. Brand said he was aware of newspapers making phone calls and sending letters to people he's known for ages and ages, claiming he feels that there is a serious and concerted agenda to control these kinds of spaces, referring to his YouTube channel. So I'm not really understanding the part about ivermectin. So what, Joe Rogan announced that Brand had taken anti-parasite drug ivermectin to treat his COVID-19 infection during the pandemic, or Joe Rogan announced that Joe Rogan. So the article doesn't really say. Anyone that's familiar with that, definitely shout it out in the comments, because I don't know what that means. The way that it's written is kind of ambiguous, but his YouTube channel. So Brand added, amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks, often very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. I'll tell you this, either way, I wouldn't want to be Russell Brand right now, especially if he's totally innocent of this stuff, which, you know, he's denying all of it. Like, he's not saying there's grains of truth to it. He's saying it's all lies. And again, I think that's possible, man. And really, it doesn't matter what I think or you think. What matters is how much this gets spun in the media. Like, if there is no truth to it, he could be absolutely finished just from the allegations if the media really runs with it, right? On the other hand, he could be a total monster. Like, we really just don't know at this point, man. But I do pray the truth comes out for the sake of the victims, if it's true, and for the sake of the victim, potentially Russell Brand, if it's all bullshit, right? He absolutely refutes it. These allegations pertain to the time when he was, this is a quote, "These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies. And as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that, then almost too transparent, and I'm being transparent about it now as well." Okay. There's a caption under a picture here, which I know y'all can't see the picture, but the caption says, "Laura Brand, who is expecting their third child, has not commented anything publicly or shared anything on social media since her husband made the video." Okay. Brand continuing with the quote, "To see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play?" And I would say the potentiality for that is very high in this case. It's very possible that this is a concerted attack. Quoting Russell, "Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan, when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream didn't approve of, and we saw a spate of headlines from the media outlets across the world using the same language." Okay. Get Him to the Greek star Brand also said there had been calls for his community festival, Hey On Why, to be canceled. Yeah, so the cancel culture is already on him, and this thing's been out for all of a half a day, with definitely no conclusions, and yet they're wanting to cancel his ass. See, this is what I'm talking about. You don't even have to do anything to get the cancel culture after you, right? And I'm not saying he didn't do anything, but the point is you don't even have to do anything and you can get canceled. We definitely need to wait and see what transpires of this, but easy on the reins there, people, a little bit. Let's figure out what the fuck's going on here first, right? Following the father of two's bombshell video, he received the backing of disgraced influencer Andrew Tate, who recently won his freedom after months of house arrest amid an investigation into sex trafficking claims against the kickboxer and his younger brother, Tristan, age 35. Supporting Brand, controversial social media star Tate, age 36, took to X Twitter, posting a cartoon meme of a knight preparing for battle, captioned, "On my way to fight the crazy bitch allegations." Alongside the image, he captioned it, "Welcome to the club, Russell Brand." Tate, who is currently facing charges of rope and human trafficking, which he has also denied, in a separate tweet, responded to Brand's video, calling it a matrix attack. Brand also appeared to win the support of tech tycoon Musk, who appeared to sympathize with him. Of course, They don't like competition, he replied to the comedian's video on X. Both Musk and Brand have experienced similar criticism over the years, branded as conspiracy theorists. During the pandemic, Brand was condemned for airing COVID conspiracy theories, and in 2014, he received backlash after claiming he was open-minded about the idea that the US government might have been behind the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Well, damn right they were, Russell Brand. Let's get a thumbs up in the chat on that one. I catch Russell's stuff periodically on YouTube, and I agree with him on a lot. If you haven't seen the interview he did recently with Tucker Carlson, it's definitely worth watching. I'm not real big on the media talking heads, but for some reason, I do tend to like Tucker Carlson for whatever reason. I think he makes some good points, and he's got a good sense of humor. And he's been fired from all of the mainstream news outlets. So there is that on his, going for him as well. And damn right, Russell Brand, the US government might have been behind the 9/11 attacks. Yep. Fucking A right. The Tesla boss, Musk, has also been known to publicly support conspiracy theorists, as some have turned out to be true. What did I do with I gotta get my drink. Hang on, y'all. Sorry. I guess I finished it. Let me pour something to drink here. We're gonna continue with this article here momentarily. Let me refuel, folks. What a crazy, crazy story this is, though, isn't it? My goodness. Okay. So Elon Musk even thinks that some conspiracy theories turn out to be true, eh? Well, at least he doesn't have his head all the way up his ass. You know what I mean? Continuing down with the article. And let's see some more thumbs up in the chat, you guys. 56 watching. Let's at least get 30 likes, you guys. We're only at 23. That's almost 50%. So really the algorithm ought to just be sharing the shit out of this video, getting 50% likes. But, they don't want me talking too much on the mainstream, right? So they'll just make sure they don't share my shit. Oh, hell, I got a feeling they're fixing to come knocking on the door to run me off out of here. We'll see what happens. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get to finish the article. The Smooth radio presenter. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. So later, Brand's sister-in-law, Christy Gallagher, appeared to show her support for the controversial celebrity. This Smooth radio presenter, age 47, who is the older sister of Brand's wife, Laura, shared the comedian's 2-minute video on Instagram with a large red love heart. Brand married his wife, who is currently pregnant with their third child, in 2017, so they've been married 6 years now. Mrs. Brand has not commented on anything publicly or shared anything on social media since her husband made the video yesterday. She has since appeared to delete her Instagram account. Amongst the very serious allegations made, Brand said there was also a litany of astonishing attacks, which he called some pretty stupid stuff, including calls for his community festival in Hay-on-Wye to be canceled. He added, "I need my voice along with your voice. I don't mind them using my books and my stand-up to talk about my promiscuous sexual conduct in the past. What I seriously refute are these very serious criminal allegations." Also, it's worth mentioning that there are witnesses whose evidence directly contradicts the narratives that these two mainstream media outlets are trying to construct, apparently in what seems to be seems to be, to me, a coordinated attack. And, just pausing from the article real quick, somebody with the money and celebrity status that Brand has, I don't think they need to be predatory, right? I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand any of it. I am like a total prude, honestly. I've been married to the same woman for 21 years and have been entirely faithful to her the entire time, 100%. And so I don't understand, the whole game anyway. I mean, so I have played the game before when I was in my college days, and it made me feel just like absolute shit, right? But when it comes to somebody that's successful, famous, rich, you can basically have any kind of woman you want, man, and you don't necessarily have to pay for it, although surely you could afford it. But you've got every opportunity in the book. You don't have to prey on 15 or 16-year-old girls, and you don't have to prey. You can go over. You don't have to prey on people in general. I mean, this just doesn't make any sense to me, is what I'm saying. Like, if what they're saying is true, then dude's even more of a monster because there's no need for it. It would almost be as if he gets off on the predator thing, right? And I'm probably not the best judge of character, but Russell Brand's never really struck me as the predator type, but I could be wrong. It doesn't seem to fit to me. Like, I don't want to put my foot in either way too much, but a lot of this stuff just doesn't appear to be ringing true to me. Throughout the clip, Brand mentioned how subscribers to his YouTube channel had previously written in the comments section, "Watch out, Russell, they're coming for you." Pardon me. And here lately, just as a side note, I've kind of been holding my breath, halfway expecting Russell Brand to come out as a flat earther, honestly, because I can kind of tell when someone's about to pop off as a flat earther just from certain things that they say publicly. Like an example would be Christopher Green. A lot of you old timers remember the YouTube channel AMTV, and Christopher Green, who was like a pretty standard normie-ish right-wing conspiracy theorist. And he's sort of like one of the last people in a million years you would expect to come out as a flat earther. But eventually, even Christopher Green did let it be known. And I sort of smelled that coming before it happened too. So really, my spidey senses have been tingling about Russell Brand here for the last few months, like wondering when he's going to come out to his 6 million subscribers on YouTube as a flat earther. But he certainly ain't going to do it now, I don't think. It might never happen. Then again, maybe it would be one of the best moves he ever made in his life. So Russell Brand, if you're a closet flat earther, I implore you to come out of the closet, man. Because if you do that, and assuming that you're innocent of these charges here that are thrown against you, if you do stand up for the truth and what you know to be right, in spite of even more shit that's going to come down the pipe your way, you need to step up and do it all the same, especially when you know that there's probably negative consequences for standing up for what you know to be right. And really, at this point, only Russell Brand and these alleged victims know the truth. Nobody else does in the world. All we can do is speculate and read into this article what you will. Brand closed the video last night, which already had 4.9 million views since it was uploaded to X at 11:21 on Friday last night, by saying, "In the meantime, I want you to stay close, stay awake, but more importantly than any of that, if you can, please stay free." tonight. The comedian is due to be at the Troubadour Wembley Park Theatre in London for his new show, The Russell Brand Bipolarization. Oh, so this comes right on the heels of him shooting a new special or something? Wow.
That's at the Troubadour.
That's awful convenient. So I wonder if he's going to do the show tonight. That'd be hard, wouldn't it?
Call him and ask him.
I don't know his number, but wouldn't that be hard?
Troubadour and ask him. Or go online.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, can you do it? Seeing how you got your phone over there?
It's a London number. I can't call that, but I can
No,
look.
go online and see if he's still going to do the show.
All right.
Um,
What time is it?
the sold out event takes place between 6 p.m. and 9:30. And they're like, what, 6 or 7 hours ahead of us? So it should be going on right now. I think. Unless I'm way off, but I think it should be going on right now. Right. But there's another convenient aspect to this, isn't it? So he's supposed to be doing a special today, and this thing comes out yesterday. Bipolarization. Maybe he's going to come out as a flat earther on that thing. So hopefully, and again, maybe I'm way off. I don't know if he's a flat earther or not, right? But maybe that's what he was going to do with this.
Spell that place, Troubadour.
Yeah, it's spelled just like it sounds. No, I'm kidding. It's TROUBADOUR. Troubadour Wembley Park Theatre, London. Mail Online understands the sold-out Tuesday performance of the show at London Theatre Royal Windsor venue is also still due to go ahead. Okay, so he probably is doing it right now. He's got gigs in Plymouth on Friday and Wolverhampton on September 28th. They're also still listed. Confused fans have taken to social media to question whether the performance will go ahead. Indeed, they do.
It says right here, Russell Brand is going to be doing the show, and the show is called Bipolarization.
Yeah, I've already said that.
Okay. And it's set up for tonight at a sold-out place.
Yeah.
3 hours ago.
Yeah, she should be doing it right now. So anyway, so one said, these are fans on social media, please can you confirm if the performance tonight is going ahead and if there is an option for a refund? I mean, look, so people are already trying to get refunds on the tickets they've already bought because of these allegations. I mean, it's, again, if he did these things, then he deserves every bit of it and then some. But if this is bullshit and this is trumped up nonsense, then yeah, seems like that's what they were going for, is an attack on his platform.
Russell Brand is set to perform in front of thousands tonight.
Yeah, we already know that.
I know, but at a sold-out gig in Wembley, just hours before a Dispatch expose airs, the comedian is removed from agency websites after denying serious criminal allegations.
Oh, so he got fired from his agency already?
Dude, they done pulled him from his events and everything. It said the comedian has been accused of rape, sexual, and emotional abuse. Russell Brand's live gig in front of a 2,000-strong audience is set up to go ahead tonight. The comedian has been accused of all that, emotion. It says accused of rape, sexual assault, emotional abuse of 4 women.
Yeah, well, we know that.
To Spain.
But
the allegations were published in the investigations of the Sunday Times.
Stop.
Yeah.
Sorry. So the important thing is that I gleaned from any of that is that they have taken him off of his agency's website. So, I mean, I don't think he can breach contract because he's having a bad day. But there may be stipulations in his contract that they can cancel him for, untoward things happening. But it appears there haven't been any, this is just allegations. There aren't any criminal charges. There's no indictments, nothing. So anyways, let me continue on with this.
What this says.
What?
It says right here, of course there's going to be anybody that accuses you of rape, sexual assault, and emotional abuse, somebody's going to get some charges.
Okay, well, yeah, but right now,
you can't sling any kind of charges out there.
But it appears that's what's going on. Let's continue reading. So, gigs in Plymouth on Friday, still listed. Go ahead. One said, please can you confirm, and wants a refund. Another added, any chance of a refund? There's a show on at 9 p.m. on Channel 4 that I don't want to miss. So this is another thing that's interesting to me, that they put in these articles fans on social media who ask about a refund, as if that's at all pertinent to the story. But there is definitely a narrative being spun here to let's cancel Russell Brand, right? And now, if he did do these things and he is a monster, I think it's debatable, should we cancel him? But do we cancel people just on allegations? I don't know, man. On the tour's website, it said the show discusses rules and rule breaking, democracy, and freedom. It adds, we reach conclusions from mass confusion by polling the live audience. Stay free is a phrase Brand frequently used to end his videos on his channel. But hours before he was due to take the stage, Brand was seemingly removed from his agency's websites. So you kind of did spoil that one. Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
You good. Following his denial of allegations against him and ahead of the Channel 4 documentary tonight, Brand's PR firm, MBC PR, and talent agents Tavistock Wood no longer advertise him as a client on their websites. However, it's understood NBC PR still represent him. Wow. So that's kind of a shit move for your PR company to do, right? I mean, in my opinion, to me, that's kind of fishy. I mean, usually isn't it your PR company that stands by you when shit hits the fan? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I was sort of under the impression that that was their deal. Like, that's what they were supposed to be doing, right? I don't know, man. It's just weird. There's a lot of weird things about this, honestly, that I'm seeing. I'm not going to read the captions of these images here. I know y'all can't see them anyways. Continuing on, Brand, an only child from Grays in Essex, became famous thanks to his one-man stand-up shows. For a brief time, was the toast of London, sleeping first with supermodel Kate Moss, who regretted her choice, and then allegedly with Moss's friend Sadie Frost too. So why are they bringing that up? So this is a piece about how he's a sexual predator, a monster, a serial rapist, basically, is what they're accusing him of. So I'm just trying to figure out how it's relevant that he slept with supermodel Kate Moss, who regretted her choice. I mean, this seems like a hit piece to me, honestly. It seems like if somebody was guilty of the things that they're accusing him of, I mean, shouldn't that stuff sort of stand on its own merit without having to continue selling us on how bad Russell Brand is? Let me see if I can pull up here for my own gratification. Images of Kate Moss. I'm trying to ring a bell. Yeah, Kate Moss. Okay, so in my opinion, Kate Moss is almost certainly a MTF transgender, in my opinion. I'm just saying, that's neither here nor there, but I know how to pick them. If you do a Google image search for Kate Moss bikini, and again, this is the first time I've ever studied these pictures, but one real easy telltale sign, two things. You've got the Q angle and the position of the belly button relative to the top of the hips. Initial quick observation, in my opinion, of Kate Moss is probably a tranny. So See, this is something that I was talking about with the whole beware the transpocalypse thing, because it would not be impossible for a gaggle of trannies to bed you, unbeknownst to you. Most people are not aware of the transpocalypse, and some of them are extremely convincing. But it would not be unthinkable to suggest that perhaps a gaggle of trannies put a target on a person and all come out with allegations at the same time in order to smear someone's credibility, maybe leverage them for out-of-court settlements and that sort of thing. So again, I'm not saying that's what's going on, but when they start bringing up Kate Moss, who is a supermodel according to this, so if it's a supermodel, you can almost already bet that it's probably a tranny. Let's see her friend Sadie Frost. I am just curious to see if we've got a tranny double whammy. Let's see. Sadie Frost. Looking highly suspect to me, man, honestly. And to each his own. If you're not well rooted or very deep into the transpocalypse information, you're going to think I'm a total wackadoo. But there are definitely secret transgenders out there in the world that present as the opposite sex, that are high profile celebrities, supermodels, Victoria's Secret, all that. And the two women, the women that they mentioned here in this article by name, again, so that's Sadie Frost and supermodel Kate Moss, in my opinion, at cursory glance, appear to be a couple of trannies. Just saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Further investigation is needed. Cursory investigation says, yeah, hands down, couple of dudes born with PPs. Just saying. Okay, so continue with the article. He shot to fame in the noughties as a TV and radio presenter, hosting series including Channel 4's Big Brother, Big Mouth, and a BBC Radio 2 show. And any of our viewers overseas across the pond, can you tell me what it means to shoot to fame in the noughties? And I can probably look it up, but y'all have such weird phrases for things over there. You know what I mean? Like you call cookies biscuits and all that good stuff. Okay, so let's see. British lingo in the noughties. That sounds like a British thing to say, right? All I can get is examples of in the noughties. Here are a few examples of how to use noughties in a sentence. British fashion in the noughties was heavily influenced by the punk rock. I still don't know what in the noughties means. So if anybody wants to fill me in, put it in the chat down here, because I would like to know what the hell are they talking about when they say in the noughties. Oh, noughties means 2000s. Okay, so like the noughts. Got it. Okay, wow, that makes sense. I've heard it called the noughts, but not the noughties. Okay, what do you mean? Cookies really are biscuits? No one's flour. Naughties are the early. Okay, got it. 20,000, 2010. Wow, y'all British people are making me feel really stupid, man. But you're good. So yeah, naughties. Got it. Okay, got it. God, y'all quit making me feel stupid because I don't know what the naughties is. I thought it was like a section in the newspaper after the funnies, right? What do I know? Okay. In the noughties, BBC radio show. The 48-year-old comedian later graduated to Hollywood, starring in films including Rock of Ages, Get Him to the Greek, Despicable Me, and more recently, Death on the Nile. His fame was cemented by the 2008 tome, My Bookie Wook, soon afterwards, in which he told of his heroin addiction and numerous sordid sexual encounters including sex with prostitutes and joyless orgies. The following year, he lost his slot on a BBC Radio 2 show after calling up Fawlty Towers and Andrew Sachs to boast about having had sex with his granddaughter, Georgina Bailey. So I'm not sure who Fawlty Towers and Andrew Sachs are. But okay, so I guess those people had some sort of producership or had some sway with BBC Radio, I reckon. Yeah. At that time, it seemed there was nobody he couldn't charm. Yeah, I remember him doing the circuit in the noughties. Yeah, for sure. He was all over the damn place. And I actually just watched Get Him to the Greek for the first time kind of recently. And I mean, I'm not going to say it's in my top 1,000 favorite movies by any stretch, but I got a few chuckles out of it. I thought it was aight. You know what I mean? I thought it was okay. In 2010, after a brief courtship, he married dazzling pop star Katy Perry in a 7-day ceremony in India. They had met at the MTV VMA Awards when Perry had thrown a plastic water bottle at his head. By December of 2011, the brand had fled for divorce from Perry, citing irreconcilable differences. Yeah, and I'll tell you what those differences are, in my opinion. Its name should be Perry Katy, not Katy Perry, okay? That's just me. You know, I'm just a crazy person who believes in things like basic human anatomy. Yeah, John Black, exactly. Katy Perry's a dude, just saying, you know, prove me wrong, man. Then it's got Russell Brand's response comments in full. And I guess, you know, instead of me reading that, I can probably play it. I don't think y'all will be able to see it. You won't. But you should be able to hear it. And that way I can get a break from talking, get a swallow of something to drink, and all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do is pull this up, and I'm going to start to play it just for a second. And y'all, please let me know how well you can hear this. Once I get it started, of course. And also, let's get a big thumbs up in the chat if y'all are liking this stream. Wow, and you know what's so strange about this is when I search Russell Brand response to allegations, Russell Brand's channel is like the 10th one down at the bottom. So he's not gonna be one of the first ones that you find, which is rather strange. Okay, but here it is. So let me start playing this. And if y'all can hear it, put a comment down here that you can hear it. Here it is right here. No, I'm lying.
There's some pretty stupid stuff like my community festival should be stopped.
So can y'all hear that okay? Let me know if you can hear that okay, and I'll start it from the beginning and play it and let y'all hear it. 5x5, great. Thanks so much, DJ D. Appreciate you, brah. All right, cool. So here we go.
Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Now, this isn't the usual type of video we make on this channel where we critique, attack, and undermine the news in all its corruption, because in this story, I am the news. I've received two extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies. And as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan, when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of. And we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out, Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth. Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices. And I mean my voice along with your voice. I don't mind them using my books and my stand-up to talk about my promiscuous consensual conduct in the past. What I seriously refute are these very, very serious criminal allegations. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are witnesses whose evidence directly contradicts the narratives that these two mainstream media outlets are trying to construct, apparently in what seems to me to be a coordinated attack. Now, I don't want to get into this any further because of the serious nature of the allegations, but I feel like I'm being attacked, and plainly they are working very closely. Look into this matter because it's very, very serious. In the meantime, I want you to stay close, stay awake, but more important than any of that, if you can, please stay free.
So there you go. There from the horse's mouth himself. Basically, awake, not woke, right? And how did they hijack that term anyway? Because for the longest time, I thought woke was a good thing, and then they sort of commandeered that, and now it's like, wow, you want to stay as far away from woke as you can possibly get. My initial gut reaction is he seems rather believable, although a woke was never good. Well, then I must have been a Riri. Maybe I was. But awake is good, right? Awake is still good? Yeah. No, he seems believable. I mean, okay, so dude's a professional actor, fine, but certain things you can't fake. I can tell he definitely feels like he's being attacked. It seems to me he definitely feels like the allegations are consensual, or like these relationships were consensual or whatever. I'm assuming that he's being told who the actual people are, right? Like, I don't think they're going to hide the names from him, would they? I don't know. He seems believable to me, man. And, you get that, but at the same time, like, it didn't scream to me that he was lying by any stretch. Okay, I'm right. So the term woke did get hijacked. Okay, so at least we've got consensus. Grammar guy never liked the term woke as it is used. Yeah, I know. Well, I think it sort of started out more in the Ebonics sort of circles, and then some white guy heard it and started using it and then hijacked it, right? I don't know. His voice sounds real honest. Yeah, Nelson, agreed. And he comes across as being truthful, honestly. And the fact that he preemptively responded, so like he came out last night when the article was released today, that says a lot too, I think. I mean, so like the way that works is whenever a publication comes out with something that has allegations against you, they have to give you sort of a warning. And so they would have given him some sort of written notification that they were fixing to publish this with his name in it, with the allegations, and given him a chance to either respond or prepare for it. And so, you know, the fact that he came out preemptively, I don't know I don't know if that scores him points or loses him points or either, you know. I mean, this is the man's livelihood. They're already calling for canceling him, even though no sort of determination's been made. We never wake a mind before it's ready, right? Morpheus. Okay, so let's continue on with the article. If there is, I don't know how much more is left, if there is anything left. Of course, my computer's gonna take a crap, so let's see. I need a new computer so bad, you guys. This is just murderous. It doesn't look like that's the end of the article because there's like 5 more inches down at the bottom here, but no text is populating because my computer is a piece of crap. Let's see. Okay, so that is actually the end, right at an hour 45. So, wow. So my first thought on this is it would be very helpful if we knew who were the women slinging the allegations, right? So when someone's accused of something, at least in this country, they have a right to know who their accusers are and what the allegations are. Now, we as the public, we don't have that right. And if those women choose to remain anonymous, that's up to them. But, you know, at the same time, how can we as a public render any sort of an informed judgment on this situation if we don't even know who these women are? I mean, we damn sure know who Russell Brand is. And if he is a monster, if he's a predator and this stuff is all true and he's just lying about it, then these women definitely deserve their anonymity. But at the same time, just in my opinion, they kind of lose some credibility. There's nothing against them, but when you have faceless accusers, it is hard to get on board with them. You know, we don't know how sincere they are. I can't look them in the eye when they make these statements. We're just reading, you know, what was said to a reporter. And, you know, we already know that people who speak the truth in this world full of deceptions have a big target on them. And frankly, if these are even real women, and not just totally made up, because we don't know that even, because we don't know who they are. So for all we know, it could be ChatGPT accusing him of this stuff. We really don't know. But without knowing that, you know, it's really hard to say. We don't know. But it's, you know, that's with anything. Like, you know, when I came out as a proponent for certain truths, y'all know what I'm talking about in the FE community. People accused me of not existing or being a made-up agent person because at first I didn't want my name out there attached to Flat Earth. Anonymity is a valuable thing, and if you don't want your name attached to something, that's perfectly reasonable. And I don't. It's not like they lose points with me for that. But what my point is without being able to look someone in the eye and see them make a case for whatever they're saying, it is very difficult to take that person seriously, especially when you're dealing with a multimillionaire. So Half Tater says, your computer is good, need better Wi-Fi. The Scientology chicks ? Yeah, I don't know. See, we don't know anything about these women. We just know that they have changed their name for the article, and that's it. it doesn't appear that they're launching any sort of criminal charges. Otherwise, that definitely would have been brought up. On the surface, it appears to me that this is a smear campaign designed to sully his good name. Honestly, that's what it appears. Just based on my initial gut assessment, right? On the other hand, we've got to reserve that possibility that this is legit and dude's some sort of a monster to some degree or another. I think we've got to remember when somebody is totally out of their mind on drugs, like Russell Brand admittedly was during those years, they are liable to do shit that they wouldn't normally do. And especially when you've got that massive, massive ego trip, the fame and the money and having to beat women off with a stick because, you've got that position of authority and clout and, you're just dripping in it, right? So people do let that sort of thing get to their head and they see other people as maybe not inferior, but, as objects to be played with. And, I've dealt with monsters. I know how that can be. That can be extremely scary and uncertain, and you feel inferior and you feel like you don't want to rock the boat because then you're going to ruin your relationship with this person that you really like crazily admire to like crazy levels, right? So there is that potentiality. But again, I think my main point is that it's hard to cast any sort of see how they come across when they're making these sort of claims, right? For all we know, it could be a pack of trannies, man. We don't know. So, y'all, crazy, crazy world, man. One thing's for sure, I wouldn't want to be Russell Brand right now. So, with that, we'll probably wrap this one up here, you guys. Thanks so much for hanging with me. If you would like to contribute to the channel and maybe help me keep my place to live for another few days, would be greatly appreciated. It's not obligational. All my content is free, but maybe I should set up a members only page. Like, I would like to know what you guys think about that. I mean, I hate to put my content behind a paywall, but at the same time, if I'm like homeless in the street and don't have anywhere to live or plug in my computer, then I can't do any content, right? So what do y'all think, man? I mean, honestly, I don't subscribe to any members only things on YouTube. I'm not even subscribed to Rockfin because I don't like to pay for content, which is why I've kept all my stuff free, honestly. And I don't know. Like I said before, I'm not a very good capitalist, but maybe I should set up something and see how it goes. Do I have an XMR Monero wallet? No, I don't know what that is. I was recently let back into my Bitcoin wallet, so I do, as of recently, have access to that.
$10.
Well, yeah, I've got Cash App. It's the Morgile on Cash App. Trying to get up $150 more to pay the rent. I think I've got $20, so maybe 130 is what I'm looking for. But it's the Morgile. I'll put it in the chat. Just bear with me. What happened to? I guess I'm not. Oh, I see what I did. So let's see. Private crypto like Bitcoin. Yeah, I haven't set it up. I mean, I guess I probably could, but so what happened? I've got a lot of funny stories with crypto. If y'all want to hear them, I'll tell you about it. So it was like back in 2017, 2018, I had between 1 and 2 Bitcoins. And the total amount of the Bitcoins was worth about $2,000. And a lot of that got spent at the time on rent because I needed the money, and I cashed it in and spent a lot of it. But there was like, I want to say $500 to $800 left, worth of Bitcoin at that time. And I lost my ID, and I got locked. Well, first I got locked out of my Bitcoin account because the way that it happened was I set up a authentication thing on my phone, which was through, I want to say Zoom, but that can't be right. But it was a authentication thing that Bitcoin or Coinbase had recommended. And what happened was I lost that phone, right? And the way that I lost the phone was kind of funny. A tornado literally snatched it out of my hands, believe it or not. And I went and got another phone through TrackPhone with the same phone number. And I tried to get back into my Bitcoin account, but because I didn't have my old phone, I couldn't set up the authentication software on the new phone, which had the same phone number. So I would have definitely been better off just keeping it as an SMS two-factor authentication, right? But I had opted for the authentication software app or whatever. And so when I got locked out of my Coinbase account, they wanted to do an ID verification, and my ID was expired. And so I couldn't get back into it. I had hell of a lot of trouble getting my ID. And in the meantime of this, I moved to Florida and was staying with my mother, and finally kind of got to meet my mom for the first time in decades. Like, I didn't really grow up with my mom around or whatever. And so when I was staying with my mom at the time, I had a lockbox where I kept all my important documents. And I had my passphrase for my Coinbase account in there, as well as some other crypto accounts. And about that time, somebody in my family stole my Social Security card out of my wallet while I was sleeping, stole my passphrases out of my lockbox unbeknownst to me, and also stole my birth certificate out of my mom's filing cabinet, which she had stored there for decades. I was surprised that she even had it, or at least she thought she did, but suddenly all that stuff was gone. And I know who did it and why, but basically my identity was stolen by one of my very own close blood relative family members while I was sleeping. And they sold my identity to a Venezuelan for $10,000, believe it or not. Okay, so all that happened, and I was just locked out of Coinbase, and I forgot all about it, stopped trying to get in it because there was some money in there, but it wasn't a whole lot, and I was at an impasse until I could get identification. And so, long story short, I just finally got my identification back just like a month or two ago. Yeah, way too insane. 100% true, though, promise. And so when I got into Coinbase and I started looking through the history, there was, so the $805 or $800 or whatever it was from 2017 was gone, and there was like $10 in there, right? But the $500 or $800 from 2017, it was like a Bitcoin, right? It was like a whole Bitcoin, or maybe even more. I don't know exactly what, I figured it up, or I got close to figuring up, and I just got physically sick to my stomach, so I stopped messing with it. But it would have been a lot of money. So when I finally got back into my Coinbase account, somebody had withdrawn it, and I could probably like pursue this, but I don't think I would ever be able to get my money back. And you know, I meant to ask Jaron about this because he knows way more about crypto than I do, but for whatever reason, I can't seem to get Jaron or anybody to want to hang out with me. I guess my name's Mud or whatever. For whatever reason, I don't know. No, and I love Jaron to death and everything, but I've reached out to him and to Cammy and Zach and others to do hangouts or try to get something going, and it just never happened, man. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, so there's my story with Bitcoin. When it comes to what's the one, I had 500 of Theta coin, right? So not the main Theta currency, but the smaller ones. I guess it's Theta Lite or whatever it was. I had 500 of those that was gifted to me from Zach from Zetetic News Network, right? From those guys from ZNN. And I think I put it on a Trezor wallet, or I had transferred it to some wallet. This was years and years ago. 500 of them. They were a nickel a pop, and when they bought them, so it was like $20 for 500 of them. And so at the same time, when I lost the passphrase for my Coinbase account, that was in there as well, handwritten down in a lockbox, and all that stuff was gone unbeknownst to me. And now I can't even track down what the hell I had done with the 500 Thetas, which I don't even know what that's worth. So, long story short, I haven't had much luck with crypto. And as far as I know, I might still have 500 Theta tokens or whatever floating around out there. But from what I was told by the people at Theta is that I'll never get access to that. Never, because I lost that passphrase and I didn't put it into Coinbase. I honestly don't remember what the fuck I did with it. I think I put it into Trezor, but I can't get into Trezor either. Yeah, Benny boy. No bad vibes towards Jaron either. I love him like a brother. I know he's busy, and T-Fuel is 5 cents now. Wow. So the last time I checked, it was $1. So they're still just a nickel. Well, at least I don't feel so bad about that. I thought it was way more. So thank God. Well, good. That's good. So no big deal on that. I swear I'm gonna put this link up for you guys. I do appreciate it. But the key word for me on all of them is the Morgile, just like my channel. So on Cash App, it's the Morgile. On PayPal, it's paypal.me/the Morgile. Sorry, can't let this ad play here. Venmo is the Morgile, and Patreon, if you want to do recurring monthly contributions, is also patreon.com/the Morgile. So I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys right now. If you do want to contribute to the channel and help me try to keep this hotel. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't come knocking on the door at 11:30 or 12 to run me off, but
They will.
I did just give them $100 yesterday. I owe them $150, and the rent's due again on Tuesday. So I'm on thin ice with these guys. I'm pretty sure could be any minute they're just gonna come knocking on the door and wanting their money or tell me to leave. It really could happen at any minute. I'm glad it hasn't happened yet for sure. Not to jinx myself, but okay. So let me paste this up in the chat, and I'll put it in the description as well. But there's my. Let me do this again because that looks like crap, doesn't it? There's all my details if you would like to help. God, see, how do you, I'm so sorry, you guys, I'm a Riri here. There's what do you have to hit control and enter to separate these? Is that what it is? I think it's control and enter. No, okay. So what I'll do is I'll do them one at a time. God, that's silly, isn't it? There's one. So that's PayPal. Here goes, whoops, Venmo. Cash App. And for the recurring monthly, as little as $1 a month, you can do Patreon. So there's that. And I do appreciate in advance your help. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Definitely give it a thumbs up and a share if you liked it. I don't usually do celebrity gossipy type of things, but this one kind of hit close to home because, again, I could be way off, but I've had this sneaking suspicion that Russell Brand was fitting to come out as a flat earth proponent soon. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but if I'm right, it makes a lot of sense that they would caricature assassinate him in the media. So very well, perhaps that's what they're doing. Maybe dude's a monster and he's just lying. Oh, it's Shift Enter? Okay, question the answers. Let me just try that, because are you sure it's Shift Enter? Let's just see. No, it's not Shift Enter either. Alt Enter. It's got to be Alt Enter. Got to. No, it's nothing. There is no way to do it. You can do it on, yeah, it's on Telegram. It's on Facebook like that too. So there's no way to do it on here. But anyway, not a problem. So we went for 2 hours on this. That's, wow, what a stream. All right. Well, definitely not the most fun I've had because I do sort of have a special place in my heart for Russell Brand just because I never had a very high opinion of him until I read his book while I was locked up in county jail. And it was great. Like he definitely grew on me a little bit, and there's a special place in my heart for any truther. So let's just pray on it, you guys. Is he guilty? I don't know, man. Let's get a poll before we go. There's still 44 of us on there. So put 1 if Russell Brand is a monster. Put 2 if he's innocent and this is all just a big character assassination plot against him for no reason. And 3 if it's somewhere in between, like maybe he did have relations with these girls and maybe he was kind of an asshole and a sect addict, but not like what they're saying. So 1, he's a monster, 2, he's an angel, and 3, something in between. I'm going with 3. But believe Russell, okay. Well, Wolves of Wolf, I don't know. I'm not saying I believe him. I think it's a little in between. Half Tater thinks it's Nothing Burger. Cool gal, Nothing Burger. Yeah. So we have some 3s and some 2s, some more 3s. Yeah. 3 won't judge. Yeah. Question the answers. Yeah. I mean, we definitely don't want to judge, but it is interesting to see where everybody stands out. Although consensus is not the truth, I think when a dozen people can agree on things, well, they'll condemn you to death on 12 people agreeing on something too much, right? Nelson Torres too, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's very possible that this was, so like maybe there's small grains of truth to this thing. And so like maybe he was in a consensual relationship with a 16-year-old when he was 31. So that's a little creepy, but still legal technically in the UK. So not breaking any laws there. I find it very hard to believe the 16-year-old story. First of all, her mother was involved. Second of all, what she said that he did would be extremely easy to defend against. And it wouldn't be hard for her to have defended against that. Yeah. So there's that. Then you have a 31-year-old businesswoman who basically claimed that he threatened her with litigation after he roped her. Yeah, Nelson Torres, with the info so far, that is, yeah. In the UK, Bob Bobson says, in the UK, a 16-year-old can sleep with a 30-year-old, but they can't drink alcohol or drive. Yeah, in the United States, they you got to be 16 just to get your learner's permit. And of course, if a 30-year-old was caught messing around at all with a 16-year-old, that's instantly a crime. It's statutory rape. Yeah. Certain states in the United States, the age of consent is 17. In most states, it's 18. Yeah, and you can go to war and not drink or drive when you're 18 in the United States, right? So it's, isn't that strange though? How something as crucial as rope can be illegal over here, but if you cross an imaginary line, then it's suddenly illegal, or whatever the opposite of the first thing I said was, right? CS says at 18, you can go into thousands of dollars in debt for school, but you can't drink. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Well, and so me, I was sort of a weird case. I got a federal student loan to go to college when I was 17. I was off at college living in the dormitory when I was 17. And I had taken out $15,000 or $20,000 altogether worth of loans. I also had grants and scholarships and stuff that applied towards my tuition. But this was in 1999. 98, 99, something like that. And man, ruined my credit. Even still to this day, it's a nightmare dealing with a federal student loan because there's no infancy clause. Even though I was 17, you can't get out of it because of that. Bankruptcy doesn't help you. Federal student loans for college never goes away until you either pay it or I've been trying to link up with a company that's going to help me get it knocked down, but it's just really hard to do anything without a stable address, as you can imagine. But God willing, we'll get through this all too. But yeah, point is, I can take out student loans. When you're 18, you can go and die in a war, but you can't drink, and you certainly cannot consensually have sex until you're 18, right? In South America, CS, you can drink at 13. Yeah, that's kind of how it is over in Europe places, right? And just because whether something's illegal or legal doesn't really make a shit, 'Cause my family on my dad's side came from Mediterranean Greek people, and hell, man, I was having a glass of wine with dinner on occasion when I was 5 or 6 years old. Wasn't really that big of a deal in my family and that culture. And if your parent you can drink it, it's sarcastic, yeah. If your parent decides to let you have a glass of wine with dinner as a youngin', I don't really think it's any of the state's business at all. I mean, I don't condone alcoholism in minors by any stretch, but at the same time, I just don't think that the government or the law has any business in family decisions whatsoever. So, the parents' decision, for better or for worse, definitely trumps whatever the state claims. So, but just the arbitrariness of, what is defining statutory rape, right? Over here it's 16, over here it's 17, over there it's 18. And they literally had to write the sort of Romeo and Juliet laws into effect here in the States, because what would happen is, you'd have kids that, grew up together where, let's say the dude is a year older than the chick, or even say 2 years older than the chick. They grew up together, they went to school together, and then they're dating all throughout high school. The dude graduates and goes off to college, and he's 19 now, and the chick is still in her senior year and she's 17. Well, there was a lot of dudes that were getting prosecuted and end up getting convicted for statutory rapes in that sort of situation. And frankly, I think that's bullshit, right? And which is clearly why they wrote provisions into the law for that. But you know, that's a far cry different than a 31-year-old man going with a 16-year-old. Now, again, where were her parents at? Like, oh, this creep who's a millionaire actor rifled through my bag, and so now we're dating, and come on, Mom, why don't you drop me off at his house too? Like, really? CS says, where were all these females in my day, right? I mean, personally, I never had a problem with in the female department, but I've always sort of been a one gal kind of guy, man. Like, honestly, I get more fulfillment out of a deep and meaningful relationship with my girl than I ever could out of, you know, playing the field, which again, I definitely did in college, and it just left me feeling empty inside, man. And, you know, I sort of had my heart broken coming out of high school. This girl I had been dating pretty seriously for years pretty swiftly broke my heart as soon as I moved off to college. And so I was like, well, fuck it, man. I might as well go on the way. You know what I mean? Twice the woman, twice the nagging. Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to wrap this up. We're going to go try to get some dinner. I just don't know if I want to leave because they might lock us out.
I need a sandwich, man.
Yeah, damn sure help you guys if you can. And if I'm able to get the rent paid today or tomorrow by some miracle before we get thrown out on our ear, I will try to put up a little post and let y'all know. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And at the very least, you know, if I get the rent paid here, I'm going to take down the videos where it's like pride goes before the fall, homeless asking for help type shit, right? Yeah, Uber Eats not going to happen, man. I ain't got Uber Eats money, but
Yeah, we got sandwiches.
no, I've got sandwich meat in the fridge and bread. Take care, you guys. Love y'all very much. Spread the word, and see ya in the next one. More to come.
All right, let's make a sandwich.